Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of It Ain't Weak to Speak. My name is Sam Webb, and this show is dedicated to ending the stigma around mental health through community, connection, and the hard-hitting truth. I'll be speaking with guests from all over the world about life to inspire and to educate people to speak up so that we can save more lives. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I'm joined by another Aussie out here in the beautiful, sunny Los Angeles, West Hollywood. I believe this man's in and around this area somewhere, but we're going to find out. Higgsy, welcome onto the podcast. It's a pleasure having you on, brother. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Sammy. Thanks for having me on, mate. I'm very excited. I've never done anything like this before. And hoping that you and I can confuse the shit out of people and just really lean into our lingo a bit.
Mate, no doubt we will. Geez, I don't know who's got a stronger accent. Is it you or I? Because, mate,
I think my accent's stronger, but I talk more shit.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm looking forward to it, mate. Thanks for taking the time. Whereabouts, mate, are you in LA?
I'm in sort of like the border of Hollywood and Larchmont. So looking straight up at the Hollywood sign, but it's sort of deeper Hollywood. I like to call it South Hollywood, but everyone told me that's not a thing. So I can't call it Soho.
Yeah, nice, man. Nice. So, well, you like, how long have you been out in the States for?
Yeah, it'll be 3 years in July. So I was lucky enough to win the green card lottery a while back, and came out here and did a lot of back and forth the first couple of years, and now I'm well and truly rooted in here.
Wow, isn't that a bit of a blessing? Winning the green card lottery, mate. I'm going through the process right now of getting a new visa, and isn't it? It's the most challenging thing in the world.
Mate, and obviously you're the same as me, like we don't have real jobs, in quotation marks. It's a lot easier visa-wise. Like I don't have to worry about who reps me or anything like that. I can just, I have nearly all the same rights as another American.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. It's good to meet you. And for a little bit of context for those who are listening, I've only recently met Higgsy not so long ago. My girlfriend and Higgsy's profession, his expertise in photography, which I want to find out more about in a moment, worked with Nadia some time ago, and that's how we sort of connected through another friend. And then it turns out that you knew Nadia and she knew you, and you'd heard of living and all this sort of stuff, mate. So it's a very small world, and it's always good running into other like-minded people out here in LA, because it can be a lonely place at times.
Very much so, mate. Very much so. But big fan of what you're doing. I think it's pretty incredible kind of stuff, especially for someone like yourself, like quite a man's man, to kind of really step up and be brutally honest about things. That's the main reason I was happy to wanted to be a part of this, because someone like you is very inspiring for other people. So even if one thing I say in the next 40 minutes makes sense to someone, then I think it's worth it.
And no doubt, mate, you absolutely will. I can't wait to talk about your experiences, obviously, of late. But before we talk about anything and everything, your experiences through the coronavirus and everything else in between that, can we rewind the clock? Let's talk about your profession. What are you doing out here in LA, and what's your passion?
So I'm a fashion and celebrity photographer. I was a lot more fashion based before I moved here. Was coming back and forth a lot. Do a lot of commercial fashion, so activewear, swimwear, streetwear, things like that. Like a lot of any of the clothes that we'd wear on a daily basis, that sort of stuff. So commercial stuff. That brought me a lot here because I shoot predominantly on location. So you come to a place where it rains 8 days a year, means I don't have to do weather checks. Whereas in Melbourne was a little bit like, yeah, we can do 6 days each side and we still might not be able to do the shoot. So moved over here, got a really nice agent. He's a legend. It's always a slow process in LA, as anybody that's ever come here to sort of chase something a bit bigger. Takes a bit of time, and you've got to be patient and pretty strong-willed. But from that, sort of moved then into doing a lot more celebrity stuff as well, which has been really exciting. Meet some really cool people and do some really cool shoots and stuff like that. So yeah, it's was really starting to hit my straps before the whole world shut down. So now I'm sort of walking around the house, and there's not much I can do in terms of my actual work at the moment due to Corona stuff, because you can't really be with somebody. The worst thing you could do right now is put 10 people in a studio together and let everyone breathe on each other for 4 hours. So yeah, that brought me over here, and I love it. I love being here. I love shooting in the beach and the desert and the mountains and that sort of stuff. And with LA, it's every hour and a half to anything really.
Yeah, it's
amazing. We can be in the snow, we can be in the desert, we can be in the beach, whatever you want. And just the quality of light and everything here is beautiful. And I love being here.
Yeah, are you if you were to compare back to Australia and Melbourne, and that's where you're from, that's where your roots are, yeah.
Yeah, I grew up outside, but that's where I spent the last sort of 10, 12 years in Melbourne. So I grew up out in country Vic.
What for the people who've never been to the States before and who don't know too much about America, what do you feel is the biggest difference from Australia to the States and your transition over here, man?
I'm really going to steer clear of it, the negative side of things, of one or the other. I just don't like to kind of focus on that sort of stuff. But I think here it's just the sheer weight of numbers. You've got a state, we're living in a state that's got twice as many people as the whole country of Australia. So that just by sheer numbers gives you opportunities that don't exist. You've got Greater LA is the size of our 3 or 4 biggest cities put together. So you get all these opportunities that exist here, and if you kind of break it down even into just LA, obviously it's all the actors and all that sort of stuff. There is so much kind of happening here. It's definitely a different system in sense of everyone kind of. My mate sort of says it's a place of the slow no. So every time you go into the door, you're like, oh, yeah, we love this. Yeah, your work's going to be great. Yeah, we'll get together. And about 8 months later, yeah, nah.
Mate, it's so true, isn't it?
It's very tiring. Every time you come home from a meeting, how's the meeting go? Oh, yeah, it was really good. They really liked it. Oh, what happened with them? Yeah, no, it was a no.
Yeah,
so that is a difference. There tends to be a little bit more bullshit here, but then once you kind of work that out, you can use it to your advantage as well. There is a lot more opportunity here, but then also there's a lot more competition. What I do like here is everybody's up for anything. If you say, oh, I want to do this, you're like, oh, great, yeah, look, let's do it. Let's go for it. No, because everybody else is also trying to get there. Everyone's got something they want to get from somebody to get somebody somewhere, whatever it is they're doing, whether they're an actor, whether they're a photographer, a model, anything, restaurants, businesses, anything. Everyone's trying to get somewhere, so everyone will work together. Obviously, everybody has their vested interests, but it does mean you do that, and everyone kind of gets around you a lot more, I find.
Yeah, and I think even my short time over here, I've been back and forth since March of 2019, and even my short stay, I haven't been here as long as you have, but to talk about inspiring, I feel like especially being in the thick of it here in West Hollywood and pursuing acting and whatnot on the side, it's definitely inspiring being around the culture. It's almost like if you live and breathe something, it almost becomes a habit for you.
Yeah.
You work harder, and yes, I get that there's a lot more competition, but I'm also finding out here people are a lot more open-minded. There's a lot more of it's very supportive out here, and even talking about mental health in general, I find is definitely something out here in LA. I know it's the land of the free, but I feel like this is city of the free. Everyone's really acceptable about seeing their therapists and talking up if they're struggling, and it is really nice to hear that. Especially when people are going through tough times, they're very open about their struggles over here. Whereas
I agree.
I
think even the name of your podcast is literally, obviously they wouldn't put it in that way. They'd say it in a much less Australian way. But people are very, very keen to share here. They're always interested in sharing. Sometimes it's too much. Sometimes you're like, okay, yeah, look, we're just watching football. Just relax. But you're very much allowed to feel your feelings. You're allowed to be ambitious. You're allowed to struggle. You're allowed to say, I want this. I want to be the best at whatever it is you want to be. And people are, oh, great, cool. Let's do it. You're allowed to have that level of ambition here.
No, I love it, man. I love it. And I'm glad, as I said, that I've run into another like-minded Aussie chasing dreams, having fun at the same time, and in trying to enjoy life, I guess, is best. But it's not an easy transition, mate. I mean, I'm sure for you, your first few years over here wasn't just a slipping straight into the photography world. It's been a success, because it hasn't been the same for me, mate. It's been a struggle, this transition.
Yeah, look, and everybody says to me, like, I spent one of my best mates over here is Grant Smiley, and he's been here for a lot longer than me. And, everybody has that. Everybody that's come here is going to have some form of struggle. No one walks straight through the door because there's so much going on here. Like, people need to see you for a year before they even trust you. Otherwise, because it's so transient here.
Yeah.
But like, he's always sort of said, it was like, it's only till like year 3 do you actually feel like you start to make it here. And it's, my first 6 months here, I think I shot 2 jobs, and they were Australian clients that I shot here. So it's not, everybody has like their own sort of level of it. And when you first get here, you kind of feel like it's embarrassing. Like, oh shit, I met those 3 guys and they're killing it. But like, I'm struggling to rub a couple of bucks together. But then once you realize everybody has done the same thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's an actor, doesn't matter if it's a restaurateur. Everybody's had that level where you get here and it takes a bit.
Yeah, it's got to be it's humbling too,
It is great. It's great. It is
back to your core.
Really, it is really good. Like you sort of think anybody that has been here for that 2 to 4 to 5 years is going to be a quite like well-rounded person, because they're going to learn a lot about themselves and about how much struggles, the struggle of it, and then the success of it as well. So
we'll talk about learning more about yourself. And you've probably learned more about yourself in the last few weeks than you've probably ever learned about yourself ever. Let's talk about what happened. I've seen your video on your Instagram. We'll talk about that soon, but we're in a very, very scary situation here in the world. People are losing their jobs. People are struggling now more than ever. And I feel like organizations like Livin are needed more now than
100%,
ever, especially
very
when
much.
it comes to, talking, keeping conversations alive, checking in with loved ones, being there for your friends or family. Let's talk about, a game-changing moment for you with the coronavirus. I mean, we see it on the news. It's flooded in the media. Shops are shut. LA's like a ghost town. New York's closed. The rest of the world is struggling. There's over 1 million people right now that are formally in lockdown around the world. A billion people, I should say. Not a million. A billion people.
That's just Hollywood, mate.
Yeah, 1 billion people in the world, as we're speaking right now, are in some form of lockdown.
Yep.
And we hear so much of the coronavirus and the amount of people that are dying and the amount of people that it's affecting, and on a daily basis. But I've never actually spoken to someone until now who's actually had the coronavirus. Higgsy, tell me what happened. I want to know.
Well, firstly,
the audience wants to know.
I definitely want to premise it by saying, like, I don't really. This isn't a cry for sympathy for having this contracting the virus. I haven't even really worked out the right way to say it yet. Because overall, my symptoms are mild. I was very, very lucky in my case. I had some discomfort and all that sort of stuff, but when you look around the rest of the world, like even today, I heard about like the fact that Boris Johnson's in all sorts, and all these other people are getting super, super sick. I am very lucky in that sense. So I definitely don't deserve any sympathy for having the actual virus itself. It hasn't. But anyway, so we can backtrack to the start of it. Basically, I have a really nervous twitch where I touch my face a lot. So in this day and age, it's really fucking bad. And I don't know exactly how I contracted it. So I just touched my face. But I went to a couple of big sporting events, probably 3 or 4 days before I had my first symptoms. And one of the sporting events is a football game. And
football's in NFL, yeah?
No, soccer.
Sorry.
And whenever I go to that, because I'm a heavy fan, I spend a lot of time rubbing my face and getting stressed. And that was a 3-3 game, so that was really.
You would have been losing it.
So I basically just fed myself the virus. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say because it's so innocuous as to how to get it. Like, I had people around me all that day, and not one of them has got the symptoms. And that was a month ago. Like, I was at the LA Marathon, and then I had drinks with like 15 people on a small table out in Santa Monica, and then I sat in a stadium with 22,000. So no one around me has. So it is very innocuous. So that was on the Tuesday night, I started to develop a little bit of a kind of vibe. I was like, Um,
What did you think? So, and did you think, are you a hypochondriac? Do you
no,
think
not at
straight
all.
away, shit, this is the coronavirus? Or did you
No,
just
not
think,
at all.
just got a bit of a sore throat coming on?
I just thought, I was just like, it was just, I just couldn't clear my throat a bit. And then I woke up on the Wednesday and I was supposed to go to the gym with my mate. And I was like, and I felt pretty shitty. My body was like, it just hit me all overnight. My body was really sore. Throat was really sore. I had a headache. I didn't really have a fever. But it felt like I had a really, really big night out. Like smoked a whole pack of cigarettes, been drinking and carrying on. Like my whole body was sore. And I was like, even then,
Like aching sore.
aching, like to touch it. But even then, I was like, it's just probably just whatever. I've just got a bit of a bug. So I was lucky. I cancelled the gym. I was I'm not coming to the gym. I was supposed to see my mate for dinner that night. Cancelled that. And then I spoke to my mum, and she was like, "Nah, you've got to go in. You've got to go." Thursday was okay. I'd kind of improved a little bit, and then I thought, no, look, I'll go in and get tested. And I was lucky enough to get a test because you can't really get them anymore. The only reason they gave it to me is because I'd been in Australia 2.5 weeks earlier. So they just, you've travelled, we have to test you. And then Friday I was fine. Like I was just still feeling pretty shitty, but it was all right. It wasn't too bad. And then Saturday I felt all right. I was like, I'm looking forward to getting this phone call to tell me that I haven't got it because I'm going to go for a run. I'm just, getting real edgy. And then he called me. He's like, yeah, man, like you've got confirmed, you're a confirmed case. I was like, what? Like, yeah, like, no way. Yeah, confirmed coronavirus. I was like, no way. And I'm like, I wasn't scared. A lot of people have said to me, were you scared? And I was like, I wasn't scared. I was just in shock. Like, I was like, no fucking way. Like, this isn't a thing. The coronavirus isn't a thing. It's not like, this is like how the whole world's reacted this whole way. Like, everyone's kind of said it isn't and then said it is. And then from there, I actually went downhill a few times. But it was kind of like I'd get one symptom, it would die off, and then I'd get another symptom. So that Saturday, I had really, really bad headaches. It felt like my face was swelling. And then I kind of went into coughing. And then towards the end, I had a lot of breathing issues. But, I was set up really well. I had a lot of food. I had friends bringing me stuff over. I've got a beautiful family. Like my brothers and my best mates. Be speaking to them every day. And they're in lockdown in Barcelona and Berlin. And mum and dad are living in, kind of squatting in France at the moment. So they're in lockdown there as well. So everyone was we're all in the same boat in terms of isolation and stuff like that. So we, a lot of connection that way. And then, that's sort of the health side of it.
What did it feel like at its worst though? Like as far as symptoms for you, and we can reiterate this and everyone will know that everyone's symptoms could be different.
Yeah.
You hear it on the news. Some people don't even know that they've got coronavirus and they're walking around with it, but they're not even affected. And that's possible.
Absolutely.
How bad what was the worst it got for you in terms of
mine?
Did you ever feel, fuck, I'm dying? I think I could actually die here?
Nah, nothing like that. I think for me, the worst was, and I probably didn't realize it at the time, was that first day when I couldn't get out of bed. But again, because I wasn't really assessing what I was feeling because I was just like, I just got a bug. Like, I had beers on Sunday, whatever, like maybe I'm just a bit crook from the weekend or something. But that was now in hindsight, that was when I had it all at one time. And that was the worst. It is what everyone says. It's just like a shocking flu. Like I couldn't keep my eyes open. Like I said, like to touch anywhere on my body was like, it like hurt. It was like touching your legs when you've just done leg day or something like that.
Yeah,
but
right.
all over, like anywhere I touched on my body. So that was the worst. But then, like I said, I just went 1 for 1 for the rest of the virus. So I'd like get that really sore face. It felt like my nose was just like pushing off my face.
Did you ever get fevers or anything? Or throw
No,
up or just spew?
I never really got big fevers, and I didn't get nausea. There was no nausea, and I don't think nausea is really a thing. Okay. A lot of people have asked me about if I lost my appetite and sense of smell, and I had a lot of people saying that happened to them. And again, I'm not sure if it actually happened to me or if it's just because I wasn't eating. But the first sort of 7 to 8 days, I barely ate because I wasn't burning any energy. I was sleeping till 2 o'clock, awake till midnight, but I'd just be sitting there like doing nothing. So I was sleeping sometimes I was sleeping maybe 4 hours a night because I wasn't burning any energy. I'd eat maybe one meal a day. But now, and again, in hindsight, maybe it was also because I didn't have a sense of taste and smell, but also I wasn't hungry. I just wasn't hungry because I wasn't doing anything. Once I started being able to do little bits of exercise, then that sort of changed a bit. But yeah, it was just uncomfortable a lot. Like I was just always uncomfortable. I did have one bad day of coughing and I had one bad day of breathing, but they were probably 2 days apart.
What was the breathing like? Yeah, I'm interested to know.
Well, yeah, someone had dropped off something at my house, and I was on the phone to my mum and dad, and I walked sort of down my stairs, which is like maybe 10 stairs, and I grabbed this I think it was an Amazon box, I can't remember what it was. It was food or something. And I was talking to mum, and as I came back up, I literally like had to drop down and like stop talking to her because like I'd run out of breath. And I was fighting for that probably 24 hours. If I said like maybe 2 to 3 sentences, I would.
Wow.
Yeah. But again, I don't think it was that bad as compared to what other people have got. And now I think I mentioned to you when we were sort of chatting before about I have noticed how sort of hard it is with my lungs if I do go for a run now. And I had been exercising, so it's not like I'm unfit as such. But so I've got this appointment today to hopefully try and find out if there's damage in there and what's sort of going on there. But everything's so fresh with all this stuff that you just don't even know. Like I'm donating my blood today for research. Like apparently they're using confirmed coronavirus patients to donate blood to people who have it. And apparently I don't want to say exactly what it is because it confuses the shit out of me, but otherwise, point is I'm just giving my blood to like a few different places that are using corona-infected blood to solve a lot of issues, apparently.
And what, mate, when you got the call saying, when you were starting to feel a little bit better and you're on the rise, and then they go, you confirmed case of coronavirus, of contracting the coronavirus, COVID-19, what was your first initial reaction? Oh.
Yeah, literally I remember I was standing just there and I was on the phone call came through and they're like, yeah, so you confirmed. And I was like, oh, so I'm good. And he's like, no, you're confirmed positive. I'm like, you're positive that I don't have it. I'm like, no, we're positive you have it. I'm like, I was just literally kind of dropped it down a bit. I was like, fuck, really? He's like, you're right? I was like, yeah, look, I'm fine. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, that's no. And then he sort of talked me through a few things. He was really good. And then I sort of spoke to my brothers and my mum and dad and sort of straight away let them know. And then obviously the phone blew up. And then I sort of took me a bit, like my brothers were like, well, what are you thinking? What do you feel? And I was like, fuck, honestly, I'm still processing this shit. But it was just more disbelief for me. But then the more I thought about it, all my mates laughed about it, and like 2 different friendship groups. And we all sort of joked a couple of weeks before that if anyone was going to get it, it was always going to be me.
Oh, no.
It's just that shit. It's the sort of thing that just happens because, I just do random things and I go to random places and stuff like that. So I felt like I was always going to get it. I just got it super early. I found out afterwards. I was like 42nd in LA County to get confirmed.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's why. So I was super early with it. And then probably 3 or 4 days after that, everything just went to shit. And now like you could barely get tests and all that sort of stuff. So I was really lucky I could actually get a test.
So, mate, I want to find out because, now we're talking about this and I want to debunk some things in terms of isolation and having it yourself. I mean, I went for a run this morning and I do a lap around my block, right? And as you know, there's a lot of people trying to keep fit and exercise at this time of the year, especially now more than ever because we're all locked in our own homes.
Nothing else to do.
People, like, as I'm going around the corner, people are like sidestepping you, like trying to like run 50 meters away from you because they're worried. There's like a stigma that shit, they might have it.
Yeah.
What's this recovery process been like for you? In terms of isolation, looking after yourself, what was the doctor advice that you got?
Yeah.
And what's worked for you? What's worked?
So initially when he first rang me, he was just like, because I said I had a mate that wanted to stay with me. He's like, oh, look, he can stay. You just got to stay 6 feet away from him and just don't make sure he doesn't touch any of your shit. So it is as simple as don't get coughed on by somebody who's got it, and don't put it in your mouth or something if you touch something. So it is as simple as that. But obviously that's pretty, how many things you touch in a day, how many times you touch
rub your eyes and your face and what.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
And now, like I probably halfway through, I just had to start exercising because I was just going crazy. And that was a really slow process, but that's been a really big help to kind of getting back into some normality. It is a bit weird now going out. So basically I was told that I was supposed to get retested, but you can't get retested. There's just not enough tests. So my doctor told me 7 days past final symptom, which everyone's saying that you just do the 14 days. Once you do the 14 days, you're done, which I think is quite irresponsible. So I had my final symptom and then I waited basically 8 days before I even left the house. And even that, when I left the house, it was to like run around the block. I walked around the block. And then sort of, now like it's been nearly 2 weeks. So I'm sort of stepping out but again, it's a really, because I missed the distancing. So when I went in, there was none of this was happening. And then by that point,
when they started closing everything down.
Yeah. So I walked out like last week to like 28 days later shit, like gone flat. It was like, whoa, what's happening? Like I had to, sorry, that should go on flat with a lappy. I had to learn basically this thing, whereas everybody else had kind of gone through this together. And I was like, whoa, why is everyone jumping away from me? And why is that happening? And who's that? And why is it was a really strange feeling. And then you kind of have your paranoia about the fact that you've had it. And you're like, do they know? Are they scared of me? Or like,
And then what are they going to think? Are they going to be like, oh, don't go near them? They've had the coronavirus. Because, mate, it has a lot of stigma attached to it.
A lot of it, yeah.
It's almost like mental health in a way, really.
Yeah.
When we talk about stigma,
And I was...
lack of understanding.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's not much to understand about it. And that's why I'm sort of going to go do all this blood donation and stuff to try and help with that. But, it's sort of, and that is why, like, if we kind of tie into, you mentioned my videos, like, I've never really been a guy to talk about myself in that sort of thing. I've never put myself on a video ever. I stand behind a camera and I'm very comfortable with that. And when I sort of found out, I spoke to my younger brother who's in Barcelona, and he's a chiropractor and really into like his health and all that sort of stuff. And he sort of said to me, he's like, you've got a really unique opportunity here to actually give some people some insight. And I was like, no, I want to do it. I want to do it. One, because of the stigma. And I just like, well, no, everyone's going to look at me like I'm, I've got something wrong with me.
Like you're gross or something, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain things I was going to say there, but I won't because it could offend someone. And then he's like, also you can, help people relax. Like, it's bigger than you. Like, take a hit for yourself. And he was right. Like, and then a girlfriend of mine who's got an activewear brand back home, I sort of told her, and she's like, whoa. And she started asking me all these questions. I was like, wow. She's like, I'd love to know the answers to these. I'm like, oh. So she kind of pushed me into it as well. And so it was a real step out of my comfort zone to sort of do it. But I'm so glad I did it now, because like probably in the first 3 days after my first video of kind of explaining that what had happened and all this sort of stuff, I was probably receiving 50 messages an hour, because it really kind of blew up. It had some sort of couple of kind of celebs and stuff that I've worked with here share it, and then I sort of kept going with the process, and I'm really glad I did it, because I think it made a lot of people more relaxed about the thing, because like you said, we don't know anything about it. So everyone's reading that media article and that media article, and like that person, you were seeing the footage of people falling over, and obviously there is all that stuff happening, but for the majority of us, we're going to be healthy and stuff like that. So,
and it's very ambiguous. It's very ambiguous. You hear so many different things right now, especially with people online telling you what you can and can't do, where you should and shouldn't go. Then the news media saying this is what it looks like, this is how much it's spreading, and it's just like creating all of this panic and chaos and uncertainty and skepticism and anxiety amongst so many people who are otherwise healthy. So then we look at people like, us, and obviously everyone's on a different journey. I understand that. But what was your biggest takeaway from it? Obviously going, nah, I'm not sharing it, to going, yep, I'm going to share it, and seeing how much it's helped people, it's educated people, it's given them insight, maybe tips, maybe tricks, and maybe it's helped you too with unpacking it yourself and saying, you know what, it's not that bad. It's not a stigma, and it's fine. This is just something that happened to me, and I'm through it, and I'm going to use my experience to help other people.
Yeah, I mean, look, something that I kind of say the whole way through the videos is that the videos weren't about me; it's about we, and it's about trying to help other people feel better about like where they're at, and even if they do have it, I'm like, hey, just I was like getting as much information as I could from reputable sources. I was staying off like news websites and shit like that because it's just aggressive. But like, I was lucky to have a really good doctor in Arizona, and I would call her on the phone. She'd give me a lot of stuff, and she treated a lot of the early patients in the US in January. So she knew a shit ton about it. But then I think probably the biggest takeaway personally for me is probably about how much I've got to know myself and reconnected, or not reconnected, just connected to like a bit deeper on what I'm like. I'm pretty kind of superficial in terms of my emotions. Like I'm happy or I'm hungry or I'm, that's sort of as bad as deep as I get. But it's allowed me to really kind of open up and notice what I love and what I hate and things like that. And I'm a really social person. I get a lot of my energy from other people.
You're a big ball of energy, you are, Higgsy, especially the day I met you on a few beers down, mate.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with it. That was definitely the beers. Learning about that sort of thing. And I think if I try and look at the positives out of it, and I think there's some really, I've done it personally, I know a lot of other people have as well, that have created some really beautiful social connections. A few of my friends that, were friends of mine, but like I speak to them a lot more regularly now. Like we've connected on certain things. I think it's really interesting the way that people are connecting and people are forcing connections as well. Like, the fact this Zoom thing, like how many Zoom meetings do you see a day of people hanging out and all this sort of stuff? And I think what it's done is evolved social connection past people just sort of sitting on their phones and hanging around at a bar together or something like that. It's actually allowed people to kind of get back into that sort of thing.
Interpersonal relationships and communication, I feel, is now top of mind.
People are, it's allowing people to try something they've never done, or, there's a lot of people that are getting negative about like, oh, there's, this person's putting that on Instagram and this person's putting that on Instagram. Like, who cares? I saw a really cool quote about like, this is an opportunity for people that were like wanted to be a photographer or wanted to be a singer or wanted to do this, but could never do it, for them to try stuff. And I think there is some really kind of beautiful things to come out of it. Obviously there's this, it's fucking scary, but I think you can kind of look into a lot of stuff. You can focus on yourself. You can focus on the people you love. You can like connect with people and stuff like that. Like the isolation really, probably towards the end landed on me a lot more. I was lucky with the videos that I was getting so much support, even though my intention was to try and help others. But towards the end, there was a few little things that started to feel like they were out of my control. And I sort of mentioned it in one of the videos, and I won't sort of won't go into what it was, but I sort of had a really kind of low period for probably 24, 48 hours where I couldn't get out of bed, had a bit of insomnia, things like that. And I sort of realized, I'm like, these are things that are out of my control. And when you're locked in, isolated fully, and there's something that's out of your control, there's no point really even focusing on it because you can't do anything about it. So you just I started to then focus on the things that I could do. And that would mean checking in on people I know need to be checked in on. sending a message here, having a phone call there, doing some exercise and things like that. And I think that's kind of, if you look at it as an overall thing, a lot of the main thing people are getting stressed about is the spread and where the world's going to go and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of that is out of our control. All you can really do is control your own backyard at the moment. And that means, if that means staying home and it means keeping clean and keeping socially distant, then okay, well that's what you can control. That's all you can do. You can't control what happens in China. There's nothing we can do about that sitting here in Hollywood. And the sooner you realize that there's stuff like that are out of control and you can just focus on what you can, you do start to feel straight away a bit better about it. And
it's more realistic too, mate, isn't it? Because we can easily get carried away with thinking and trying to control things that are far out of our control, because we get sucked into things like media and panic and all of this unbiased stuff that goes against what our true values really are. But because it's creating so much hype, we can't really turn anywhere else. So we start believing what we're hearing. Is this going to mean if anything's going to turn back to normal? Am I going to ever get back to a full-time job? Will my job ever start? A lot of this stuff, like you said, is out of our control. And I feel like once you start understanding that and you let go, and this isn't just for this uncertain time of our life. I think this takeaway in itself is beautiful to use in other areas of your life, whether it's relationships, friendships, jobs, promotions, new careers, new avenues, outside your comfort zone. There's only so much you can control. And once you understand to let go of the things that you can't, you feel a little bit more clarity. You feel a little bit more at peace.
100%, mate. Like I literally, when I had this, this dip, the thing that pulled me out of it was actually straight away starting to speak to people who I knew might have needed their own thing. And as soon as I was like, right, I can't control this part, that I'm in this house and that thing is there. I cannot do a thing about it. There's absolutely nothing I can do about it. And then I straight away was like, well, hang on, I know that person's having a bit of a shit time and so instead of focusing inwards on something that I couldn't control, I focused outwards on giving other people some energy. And I found straight away that brought energy back to me. And I just went, boom, straight out. And I think it shows that, if you can really spiral down, if you don't get your head around things properly. And it was weird for me because, like I said earlier, I've never really been a deep emotional person. I don't know, maybe I'm selling myself short, but I'm very much like, if something I like to do things that make me happy, so I just do what makes me happy. And learning all this stuff about me, hopefully maybe other people like with my sort of mentality might kind of learn from that as well. And even just people who are a bit, who are more heavily emotional than me, might learn as well. It's like, okay, well, hang on, I'm feeling shitty 4 days in a row. What should I do? What can I do about it? I can complain about it, or hang on, I know Sammy is a bit of a sensitive soul. Maybe I'll flick him a message and go, hey, bud, how you doing today? Thought of this meme. Here you go. Like shit like that. And just once you start to do that, then it pulls you kind of out of it. And that's what I've really learned. That's probably the biggest takeaway from this is for me is I've learned now for next time I feel shitty about myself, and also just the friendships that have meant more than that, like I could imagine. And I've sort of mentioned those people I've told as well, so they're aware of that. So there is really positive learning things to come out of this, and they're the things we can control.
Isn't that amazing, mate, that you've had to endure and go through this exact time of your life, which is a very rare moment for a lot of people, at this particular time in your life, to understand that, you can go deeper underneath the surface and talk about things that are more meaningful and help unpack other people's, discoveries within their self and teach and help other people. Isn't that amazing how you've had to go through this particular point in life to be able to understand that you are now able to have deeper conversations about more meaningful stuff that might help yourself and other people along the way? It's quite quite beautiful, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, and again, none of this is about me as a person. It's more just, I think it's just something even more as a metaphor then maybe. I don't know if that's the right word or if I'm even saying this correctly, because I tend to just make shit up. But mate, yeah, I just hope other people can do that as well, because I mean, yes, I'm definitely going to come out of this as a much better emotional person, because of what I've had to go like. And again, I don't want to say what I've had to go through, because I think that's a really woo is me kind of way to sort of speak about myself and, you know, give me some affection and all that sort of stuff. But I've definitely learned, as I keep saying, I've learned so much about myself. And like I've, you know, like I said, the best thing about it is these connections, these emotional connections. Like, you know, my brothers, and there's, you know, we've got this little workout group we do at 11 o'clock every day. It's like random people, and one bloke leads us. And then, you know, 2 days ago we did that in fancy dress, and then we all sat there and had 3 drinks, and everyone had to ask each other questions and stuff like that. And I know 3 people in the group by like that I've actually met, but there's like 20 of us in there. And so straight away there's new connections to people there, and they're actors, and there's photographers, and there's, you know, all this sort of stuff. And it's really quite beautiful the way you can kind of connect with different people now.
Yeah, it's amazing. I really think you sound like you've taken a lot of great positives away from something that could have, you know, no doubt it's gotten a lot of people down.
Absolutely.
And you've been able to rebound, and that's inspiring in itself. And it's great to be able to share this message with so many other people who might be right now sitting in fear and worried about leaving the house because they're worried about things that are out of their control. And I think we really understand, and I think it's important that we all go back to the basics and just try and focus on, you said it perfectly, our own backyard. Try and remain calm. If you were to give someone takeaways, right, from your own experiences and the things that you've witnessed in the short time in the past, what are some things that have definitely stood out to you that have helped you when you were spiraling, especially from a mental side?
Yeah. So like the thing that you kind of need to remind yourself is, I mean, Australia is a little bit different at the moment, because I don't think they've got to where we are just yet with the severity of the situation. My brothers in Europe, they were ahead of us, so they were in lockdown before I even got sick. But what you'll kind of realise, and what people in Australia will realise, I'm assuming predominantly this is Australian viewers, listeners, but everyone is going to go through this together. Like this is the biggest thing that ever happened to the world. Every single person in the world has been affected by this. Like if you talk about, say, like the world wars and stuff, some countries weren't involved. But this is every single person in the world has in some way been affected by Corona. Every single person. Mm-hmm. So everybody is going through it. So if we walk past that, I'm not gonna reach out to Sammy because, you know, I don't want to be a sook, and I don't want to, you know, talk to him because then he's going to think that I'm weak and all that sort of stuff. Every single person's going to go through this, and so once you realise that, okay, there's something going on with me today, I'm not feeling real good, I'm going to talk to that person. And everybody needs to know that you actually can speak to everybody, because one, everybody's got time. Time is something that we're not really going to be poor with in the next few months.
Yeah, totally.
And two, everybody wants to, like, they're going to have that person will have something to speak back to you about, and they might not have known that they could reach out to you. So me talking to you, then you go, oh shit, Higgsy spoke to me. Maybe I can speak to him. And then you start to get that sort of stuff. So just because you feel crappy, don't sit there and go, oh, fuck it, I'm going to roll up in a ball. And sometimes you need to do that. Like sometimes you need to squat in the corner and you know, rock yourself to sleep. That needs to happen. Sometimes you need to feel your pain and your anger and your depression and whatever. But I think the takeaway is that most people will listen to you if you come to them with an issue, and then because they will do it back. Because it's going to happen. Everyone's going to have something that they have to speak about to somebody in this situation. Not one person is going to be like, how good's this? I'm by myself, I got shit tons of money, you know, no one's like that.
None of that matters now anyway. We're all on the same playing field. And I think it's really neat that for the very first time we're all on the same page in some regard. You know, flying for our primal needs, food, shelter, connectedness, and I kind of find it very fascinating, because it's like you said, this isn't just something that's affected a region or a country. It's affected the world in some way. And there are a lot of great takeaways to take away from this. And I think, you know, we should remain calm. We should remain practice self-care, looking after our own backyard, making sure that what's happening there is in control and, it's safe, and
Yeah.
we're staying as best as we can given what we've got in our control. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the most important thing is, and I've sort of said it a few times in the videos I put up on Insta, was I would just encourage people to, if you haven't seen, and obviously like the social media usage at the moment is through the roof. Like how the people's phone usage is through the roof, and some people are really negative about it. I'm like, if you need it, use it. Whatever. I've been using it a lot because I use it. That's how I'm connecting with people. But just every now and then, I would just implore people to be like, I haven't seen, like, Sammy hasn't put up a story for a little bit. I haven't seen much from him, and he's normally pretty active. Try and think of like one or two people a day that just need a message, because there's like, everyone's going to go through it at a different time. And even if they don't need a message that day, but you give it to them, they'll think about it next time when they need a message, and they'll go, hey, can I chat to you, or something like that. And I think, because like you said, and like I said, everybody's going through it. Every single person's going through it. So it's going to touch every person. So if you can help someone in one way, or that person can help you, then we need to do it.
Amen to that, man. Amen to that. And I think, more and more people that spread positive messages that are realistic and that are in control and, aren't adding to the fire in any way, shape or form from a panic point of view. I think we're all going to get through this one way or another. We're just got to hold on, and have, like we mentioned earlier, and I know it's probably on a different realm, but it's about having, try and remain calm, have thick skin, understand the situation as best as you can. Don't get caught up in too much negativity via media and stuff that scares you and creates more fear. And, we're hearing from you from firsthand experience of someone that's actually contracted the coronavirus. If you implore and, implement certain things in your life, and very basic, simple tools, you get through these things, and you can get through them bigger and better and take away a lot of learning. You mentioned it yourself. You've learned a lot from this experience, and this is only over 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Of your
exactly.
life.
And I don't want to make this whole thing go, oh, look, so good. I got to do this, and I got to learn this about me and all that sort of stuff. But it's just trying to, like we keep sort of coming back to, is just to focus on positives that you can get, little wins you can get, because the rest of it we can't control. We can by staying the fuck home, but we need to just take the wins we can get, and it's funny how small a win is going to feel really big right now for people.
Massive.
Like I was dancing around the house the other day because I finished my garden bed.
Wow.
Yeah. So
wow. And that's important, man.
Yeah, it is, and just kind of break down into little things, and then, like, there's nothing worse than somebody who seems like they've got their shit together telling somebody who doesn't have their shit together to be like, do this. Yeah. But hopefully people take 1 or 2 things out of trying to change a mentality, and just like I said, the biggest thing is if you focus on helping other people, it will come internally anyway, but it'll actually just spread, and it just spreads that positivity.
And what's really nice to hear what you've been saying, mate, is out of all of this, to be able to have genuine, honest, authentic conversations with people and just communicating and having the confidence to share your own story, whatever the battle is you're experiencing right now. If you're struggling with your work, you're not sure what to do in your life, maybe it's a relationship breakdown, whether it's the coronavirus, whether it's a mental health problem, being able to sit there and be able to think about it, and look at the things that are in your control, and maybe reach out to someone who you may be able to share that with, or maybe able to check in with someone else might allow you that safe space to be able to share what you're going through.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of having experiences like this in life. And I think a lot of the listeners will be able to connect to this story in particular from that front. And I really, really believe that with the right level of support and the right understanding, I think we can all get through multiple challenges, even at the one consecutive simultaneous time in life. This is just one little challenge that we'll all get through, and we'll look back on this in whether it's 2 months or 5 months or even a year from now, and we'll think, bloody hell, I'm glad that happened, because for that to happen in life for everyone, now I'm doing A, B, and C in my life. And that's
Absolutely.
the beauty of it, and we all take away some sort of positives from
Yep.
any situation in life. And I'm a firm believer of that.
Yep. I'm really, without looking too far ahead, but I think what's going to happen to the world, and hopefully it does happen in the right way, is once this is done, I think there's going to be some amazing shit that comes out of it. Like, I can't wait to see my friends' music, what movies are written, what TV shows are written, painting, photography, anything. I think we're going to be so starved to do all this stuff that I think when the doors open, hopefully, I think it might be 50-50, because the world tends to kind of slip back into habit pretty easily. But I know there's going to be so many good things to come out of this. And unfortunately, I know I'm focusing on the positive a bit too much maybe, but there is so much destruction from it for human life and things like that. But I think there is going to be a unique opportunity for the world to really quite reset and develop. And hopefully some people, and you shouldn't feel guilty about doing nothing as well. Like, if you want to use this time to go full slug mode, go for it. Like, just, you do what suits you the most in this time, and everybody's going to come out with something positive from it, hopefully.
Definitely, man, definitely. And to end on that note, before we close and before I find out where people can find you and everything else as well, I do want to say a special shout out to anyone who has experienced traumatic loss during this time. If you're listening,
Absolutely.
if it's your family, if it's yourself, someone else that might be listening, a friend or a family member, stay strong, stay positive, try and stay connected as best as you can. As Higgsy mentioned, whether it's a simple text, whether it's a phone call, or linking up a Zoom face-to-face, or FaceTiming someone, even if it's for 5 minutes of a day, I think is very, very important. But big love to anyone out there who's maybe lost jobs, who's going through financial hardship, and even for the families and the parents that are supporting their loved ones through this time, that, they have to keep showing up for work, and all those people out there that are on the front line. Much love to you guys.
Very well said. Very well said. I definitely don't want to, I'm not trying to trivialize my experience for people who are going through like much, much heavier stuff like that. I would hate to have gone through that situation. I really do. I'm sorry for anybody that is. And you definitely touched on something really important with the health care workers as well. The shit that they're having to go through right now is just phenomenal. And I'm looking at sort of some ways here to try and help with that. But like, I think if you can in any way help a healthcare worker, just fucking do it, because they're not paid well. They're sitting there like, when I went in to get tested, like, this woman came in, she's like, yeah, like she had like triple fucking shit all over her. And she's like, yeah, I can't sleep in the same room as my husband and my kids and all this sort of stuff. And, she's not getting paid much and all that sort of stuff, all because she wanted to stick two things up my nose and see if I was sick. Like, there is those sort of people, and they are heroes, absolute heroes, and they're just doing it because they have to. Yeah. And I really, if in any way possible, get around them.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I agree. And Higgsy, mate, I'm going to share. So we run an It Ain't Weak to Speak Facebook group, which is connected to the livin.org Facebook page. It's a private group where people from the podcast as listeners can go and join, and we continue the conversation after the show. Amazing. So I want to share some of your content in that group, whether it be some of the work that you've done, photography, or whether it's, some of your IGTV footage, or whether it's part of this video itself on that group, to share people what you look like, who we are, and where we're from. Where can people find you, mate, if they want to track you down and just follow some of your work you're doing?
The whole thing about what I was doing with this, and I've literally been trying to respond to any messages I receive, is if anybody wants to run something by me, if anybody needs to talk to me, I'm just responding at the moment on my Instagram, which is Higgsy, HIGGSY _photography. But that's where, like, I think there's 7 videos of like the couple of weeks that I've been sick. I'm sharing a lot of information now based around like blood donation and stuff like that. But if you want to have a chat to me, honestly, I've got plenty of time. Send me a message. I won't miss it. I definitely haven't been missing anything. So I want you to reach out to me. Because that's you know, I need to pay forward the love and respect and generosity that was paid to me when I was sick. So even if it's just you just want a calming word, or you want to laugh about something, you want to send me a meme, anything, like do not hesitate to reach out to me, because, you know, as I've sort of said, the whole journey was that it's not about me, it's about we. And to quote a famous Australian Ben Lee, we're all in this together. So I'm here for anybody that wants to discuss anything with me.
Love it, man. Love it. And I appreciate you being on the show. Thanks for spending some time with me this morning, Higgsy. It's been very grateful to have you on. Thanks for sharing some of your insights, some of your journey. I'm looking forward to connecting with you over a few beers once all this is done and dusted.
A couple of virtual frothies for now.
Yeah, it might have to be, mate, like a Zoom party. But, mate, thanks very much for supporting Living. Appreciate you sharing some of your own personal journey with all of us. It's going to go a long way to share with our audience and our listeners. I wish you all the best in the very near future, brother, and we'll keep connected. All right.
Thanks for having me, buddy. I really appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing, because even though you probably don't realize how many people you're helping. So.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. We're all in this together, as you said, and it's a teamwork makes the dream work. Much love, guys.
Thanks, buddy.